and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today I'm adding to my propagation series with a video on how to propagate hard stem plants, what are considered hard stem plants, like this Ficus benjamina. I do have a video on propagating soft stem plants like coleus. I'll put a link below for that, as well as any videos I mention in this video. So today we're going to talk about hard stem plants and how to propagate them. And hard stem plants are, generally speaking, like the Ficus benjamina here, you're not going to be able to root in water. So a lot of people will cut off stems or get cuttings from someone for certain plants, for a lot of plants, and take them home, and then it doesn't do anything. They don't root. So that's because they need a rooting hormone, and they need to be in a rooting mix, a rooting medium. This is a rooting medium. I do have a video on making this rooting medium, my mix here, so I will link that below too, so that you can take a look at that. Okay, so here we have Ficus benjamina, and a lot of plants, most plants actually, a good amount of houseplants cannot be rooted in water. Okay, so this is a really good thing to know. Now, also, this method can be used for even plants that can be rooted in water. So like coleus and other plants like that Hoya and things like that could be rooted in water. You can do it this way. Pothos is another one. And when you do it this way, you don't have to convert the plant from water roots to soil roots. So if you've grown some plants in water and then went to plant them in soil and they died, that's because the water roots are different than soil roots. So I do have a video on how to transition a plant that's been grown in water into soil. Put a link for that as well. But for today's purposes, we're going to go straight into the rooting medium, which can then, once there are roots, can be put into soil, and you don't have to worry about water. And as mentioned, this wouldn't root in water anyway. Okay, so what you want to do when you're doing this is you want to look for on the plant newer foliage. So you don't want to this isn't your opportunity to prune out some old foliage and propagate it. Okay, so you want the newer foliage. The newer growth has more auxins in it, which are growth hormones, and that's what you want working for you when you put the cuttings into the rooting medium, so that you get roots, right? So you get plants. So look around for younger, as I said, younger growth. Now this is a young-ish ficus. So if this was a big tree, we would be looking in the undergrowth for the smaller new foliage, or at the ends of stems where there's new growth coming out. So we could, let me see, get some more close up here too. So you can see here, there's a bunch of new growth down below here. I also like the looks of the very tip of this one here. So I'm going to take this one, and what you want to do is you want to go down, you want to prune down to a leaf. So I'm going to be taking this off right above a leaf. Now, how long you want it to be? You want it to be 2 inches or so, 3 max. You don't want 4, 5, 6 inches. It's too long. There's too much above growth for roots to develop. So the plant, once you put it in, then the plant's going to be trying to survive while it's also trying to put on roots. So you don't want too much. So for this, I think I'm going to go right here. However, you do also want foliage, because the foliage will photosynthesize and will give the plant energy to then produce roots, okay? So you do want some foliage above. So I'm going to go to right here. And it is right above a leaf. Now, you want to do that because if you leave stem on the plant here, it's just going to eventually die and fall off. But by cutting back to that point, it will produce more growth out of where I cut much more quickly. Okay, so now we have here this piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do though is I am going to cut back. So what I need here is a stem node. Those are the little ridges on the plant where new growth comes out. So what I need to do with this is I need to take off this leaf here right next to the stem. I'm going to come in a lot closer here so you can see this. Okay, so here we have the leaf. And we also have a nice little situation here where there's a little baby leaf right there. So that's another thing to grow. And a really cool thing about this is we will know that the roots have started to form on this plant when that starts to grow, because new growth above ground indicates there are roots that are sustaining the plant and the plant is establishing. Okay, so however, what I do need down here is not the end of this here, because there's not going to be any growth hormone in there. I need to be at where the stem node is right here, where this leaf is. So I'm going to take this leaf off, which is why I wanted more than one leaf up top. I have that baby leaf and a bigger leaf. Okay. Now I have that. Now I'm going to go down to just above that there. That is stem node right in here. This is what we want to put into the rooting hormone. And I have videos on rooting hormone, how to use it, and using it right now. So what we want to do is take it. You don't want to stick cuttings into the container of rooting hormone. What you want to do is put it in just a little bit in something so that you don't contaminate it. Okay, so you want to roll. You can use a brush. I sometimes use a brush. You can also stick it in. So you want to really coat this very, very nicely so that you have really good, lots of rooting hormone on this, on the stem node there. Okay, now I forgot to bring something which would have been better. It's like a wooden dowel or something. Let me use my finger, make a hole, put it in, and then you want to gently but firmly cover it. Now it's in a bit, but it's not in really deep. So you'll see here that other little leaf there, right there. You want to pre-moisten. And then when you do plant, you can water a little bit more. Now, another thing you want to do, I'm going to do a couple more in here, and then you want to cover it like I'm going to do here with a humidity dome, because keeping things humid when you're rooting them is your best bet. So I'm going to do I think one more will fit under the humidity dome. I'm going to take another one off of the plant. So we'll find one. I'm going to find one on the underneath part here. And this one looks kind of interesting. It's pretty small. Kind of a little baby going on there. But I don't know that there's enough above growth for that. Got another situation here. This one is similar to the other ones. I'm going to do right here. And then I'm going to do the other where I cut off. And actually this one is going to have the little baby leaf right on it. So this one's not going to be planted as deeply as the other one. And it's good to experiment a little bit when you're doing this. Try different things because you never know which is going to work better. Now, the humidity dome is also very useful because you don't want to be watering cuttings constantly. They do not, you're forming roots, so there are no roots soaking anything up, so all you're going to do is end up rotting it out. But you do want to keep it moist, so it's a slight moist. It's not a sopping moist. And the best way to do that is with a humidity dome. This one made out of a plastic water bottle, and if it gets too humid, you can take off the lid to let some airflow go in there. And if it's not, you can just leave the lid on. So this is, you saw off the bottom, I have a video on that as well, actually a short video. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to do it with a little bit more going on up top here, trying with a little bit more leaves here. Like I said, experimenting, finding out what works. Okay, so you see I've got the 3. I'm going to take off this one here and use that node there. And I'm going to cut right above that node where the leaf was attached. So you'll have that little kind of a little V shape there. Okay, once again, rooting hormone. And then what you can do too to spur even more, so putting the rooting hormone on as I do here, and make a hole. So I'm putting them together in this so they can fit underneath the humidity dome, but also they can help humidify each other. And another thing you can do is you can mix the rooting hormone when the next time you water into your water. I have a video on that as well. And that way you will continue to give it more, the plants, the little cuttings, more hormone to speed up root formation. Okay, so here we go. And then this rooting medium is nice because it does have some sand in it, so it does hold things together. And I can push this in fairly good. Now you can see it's already starting to humidify up, get a little humid in there, which is great. In order to water, I can stick this underneath and kind of get it underneath. I wouldn't suggest watering from above. You can do a little spraying from above if it looks like it's getting too dry with a little fine mist. But I probably will need to take off the lid rather than dousing on top, and then put it back on again. Once they start to grow, and as I mentioned, you'll know that when there's new leaves or the leaves that are on there get bigger, then you can take this off and let them grow for a while longer before then you put them in regular potting soil. So there you go with how to root plants that are considered hard stem cuttings, with hard stems. And of course this is pretty pliable because it's a younger ficus, but if you look at older ficus, they are hard. They do have a harder stem. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.